Caroline Clark, and welcome to the Long Lost Studio podcast. This is a new podcast today. This is the very first episode, and we are going to be going into depth on different design elements, art elements to help you become a better artist, designer, and help you find your style. Can we edit out all the uhs? Okay. I say so much. If you don't know me, my name is Caroline Clark. I'm an artist, designer, illustrator, whatever. A little bit about my background. I have always been messing around in design software since college, but I didn't start doing this full time until way after college. I am what you would call maybe self-taught, but I don't like using that term because I actually was taught by some amazing art teachers in middle school and high school, and every day when I'm creating, I hear their voices in my head talking about the different elements of art and design and how I can use those to make my work better. Miss Ball, if you ever see this, I am still trying so hard to add depth to my work. So this is a podcast where we're going to dive into each one of those elements. If you just Google design elements or elements of art, you're probably going to see a bunch of different lists with a bunch of different things, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about all of them. And the goal here is for you to get so familiar with them that you can see all of the different options that you can use for, say, line work or shape or color or texture, and you can make conscious decisions to be consistent and find your style as an artist. So my first buddy that has agreed to talk to me today is my friend Juliana Lupacchino. How do you pronounce your last name?
The way you did.
Lupacchino. Lupacchino. Like cappuccino.
Well, technically it's Lupacchino, but
the
American way is Lupacchino.
Lupacchino?
So, well, the way we say it's Lupacchino. But if you're in Italy, everyone will say Lupacchino. It's silly.
Jules is one of my loveliest artist friends who's been such a sweet encouragement to me as I've been getting on in my career, and I'm so excited to talk to her today about color, because if you look at any of her work, it is just alive with color. There's so much joy, and I feel like I found her when everybody else was doing just like sad beige minimal, and here was Julu doing her like rainbow color, so joyful, was so different and amazing. And so when I asked her which art element she wanted to talk about, I was so happy when she said color, because she's so good at it. She's so good at it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us an intro before we dive in.
For some reason I want to do finger guns. Best did these the other day, and I was like, are we going to bring those back? Well, my name is Juliana Lupacchino, aka Julu is how my name transferred to Julu. I go by Jules, but I'm an artist based out of Savannah, Georgia. I went to SCAD, I studied textiles, and I didn't paint until post-grad, but I loved growing up interior spaces, creating a whole vibe of a room, playing with textiles, and just really anything that made a space beautiful. And so when I was at SCAD, I really got into installation and large scale, like wall manipulation services. And then post-grad, I got back to pattern design and pattern development. And that kind of led into mural design and putting a mural in a room to make the room more beautiful. So it would be like putting wallpaper in a space, but instead it's like hand painted. So that's what I do now. I travel all over the world, I guess, and I paint murals for people's businesses and their homes, and pretty much any surface you can think about painting is what we'll paint. So cars, surfboards, blenders, chairs.
The
But mostly
outside
walls.
of a whole entire apartment building,
Yes.
that was insane. Okay, but before we begin, this is going to be our little game that I hope we can play every time. I asked Jules to bring a can or a bottle of something that we're going to play a game with. We're picking it based more on the appreciation of the design, because I feel like as artist designers, we always are picking up on packaging, and we love like super cute can design or bottle design. So mine that I brought today is the GOAT, Coors Banquet. This is the Legacy Collection. And it is just like so beautiful. It has all these different illustration elements, and the colors are just like the classic Coors colors, the gold, the navy, the red. It just feels like a piece of Americana, and I love it. I wish I should have gotten one of the little stubby bottles, because those are even better. They're just little guys. But this one is still pretty cool because it has way more illustrations on it, and I'm a sucker for that. So crack it open. Jules, what'd you get?
Yes. Okay, well, I got Olipop, and my favorite drink of all time, I'm not kidding you, is Olipop Tropical Punch. But they didn't have it, and I was really sad because the first time I had it, I was like, what? This is so good. So I thought this one would be good too, but I've never actually had it. So, but
it's really cute.
I'm kind of sad I'm not drinking beer, but this is root beer. So, cheers.
Cheers. I thought for sure you were gonna get a June Shine.
I know, I should have. Well, I'm actually at my grandma's house in Connecticut, so I went to CVS, and CVS Manchester does not have June Shine.
Fair enough.
At all.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Cheers.
we're gonna be playing a game where this is actually so good. I want to just sit here and drink it.
Just check that one and then get another one.
I know. I try to stay away from gluten, so I never really drink beer, and this is like amazing.
A Sunday treat.
So we're gonna be playing a drinking game where we are going to take a sip every time one of us says the word contrast. I tried to think of a word. I tried to think of a word that when you're talking about color and color palettes that you would be saying a lot, and so contrast.
It's such a buzzword. Contrast.
Oh wait, you said it again. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Jules, talk to me about color, because I have a lot of strong opinions. I know you probably have a lot of strong opinions. I know you started out as a fibers major at SCAD.
Yes.
And then you didn't find painting until after you graduated. So talk to me about the difference between selecting color palettes for something that is three-dimensional and soft and absorbs light versus paint, which is 2D and reflective and less, my assumption is that it's less forgiving. What do you think?
That paint is less forgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I didn't paint in college because I didn't know how to choose paint colors. Like I think with the mixing colors, it's less forgiving. It seems like I in high school took art and we used acrylics and we would like mix colors for like portraits and stuff, and I was always like, oh, these colors are so muddy. So like me and painting just like never clicked.
Yeah.
And so I went to school for textiles because I had grown up my mom was an interior designer. Like my earliest memory of design and color was painting my middle school bedroom like a chocolate brown. I thought it was like so moody and cool. And I got a Tiffany blue box and I took it to Home Depot and I was like, can you color match this? And they matched it and I painted all my furniture that color.
So you did like the brown and blue, like the brown and baby blue combo?
Oh yeah, yes. But it was like elevated because it was like dark brown and like Tiffany blue. So I was like, this is so cool. Which, it's the same. But I forgot about all that, and then I went to college and didn't want to paint because I just loved color, and I loved the color in textiles and the colors that you could get with like just raw materials and markers, and it didn't really click. Like I knew how much I loved color, but I didn't realize how accessible that was and how I could truly just like go to any paint store and choose between like thousands of colors. And like forgotten, like the color matching when I was a kid was like so amazing, and I just dropped that. Like I just didn't remember you could do that. So when I was at SCAD, I designed textiles and did installations and all that jazz. And then it wasn't until post-grad I realized like the world of paint is so vast, and you can actually see it. Like color digitally is horrible. It's not horrible. You can leave that out. Leave that out because you do color digitally.
No. Talk about it. Say more, as they say in the Bear. Say more.
Say more. I have
because that was going to be my next question: is how do you feel about digital versus paint? I'm just drinking now. Contrast.
Yeah. Contrast.
I'm thirsty.
Digital versus paint. So I have a really hard time seeing color digitally. I think because I got so used to seeing it in the years physically. So I have always personally found it easier to find colors like for painting a mural or doing any type of like product with just finding paints like in the store.
Yeah.
Or like paint chips, or I should have brought up with those paint swatch decks.
Oh yeah. Jules always posts like the most aesthetic Instagram stories of her picking out the paint chips at Home Depot.
Oh my gosh.
It looks so good.
I will go to the paint store and like there's a local paint store in Savannah I love, and those people are the best, and I've been going there for years, and I'll just like go in and they'll be like, what's up, Jules? And I'll be like, hello, and then I'll just like go to the paint deck section and just pick out like 30 colors and then sit down and just like tear them all up and then just hand them like 20 colors and be like, here you go.
Oh,
like,
that's amazing.
I have to study them like in person, like in the light, and like rip them up from like, because they come in like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors, so I'll like tear them apart and like actually see them, because it's like so hard to see a color unless it's like by itself. And then when you compare it to things, like it's so relative.
Well, and that way you can actually, I think even probably more quickly than digitally, see exactly what it's going to look like next to the other colors. Yes. Have you ever done that? Like, like had, all your little pieces of paint colors and then like taken a picture of it and then used a color selector to do that? I know the lighting would make it weird, but
no, yes, but in a different way.
Okay.
So I would go to the store, find a paint color, say it's like Fairone Ball pointing white, and whites are like so hard, because especially on the iPad and Procreate, they're just like the tiniest corner, and so you can't like it's super hard to see the differences.
Yeah.
So I would go to the store, find pointing white, and then like Google it, like pointing white Fairone Ball, and then just like screenshot a photo of the digital image of it, and then put that into the iPad, and I dropped that. So just because the photos
that's amazing,
cooler and less saturated.
Well, and you could use that too, like if you were to do what I said, where you had the little bits of paint on the table, you could get that white on there as well, and you could use that sort of like for white balance to cancel out the color. Man, that's genius. I want to do that. Okay, so speaking of all of that, let's talk about making color palettes, because I feel like that is something that people who are maybe looking for their style want to maybe incorporate, is having a set color palette or having a range of colors that they use consistently to make their work look consistent. And I feel like that is an amazing, amazing tool to use if you want your look to be consistent. So how do you pick your colors? Because again, flash a bunch of Jules's murals that she's done that are just like insane. And some are, I'm going to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, most are super colorful. Some are less color. Like I know you've done some that are just like all neutral. But most are really colorful, but I still feel like the vibe is so different. Like the one that you did in the bathroom at Nats on, what's it called?
Nats on Bank. Yeah,
Nats on Bank. Yeah, that color palette was so different than, say, like the color palette that you did in like a more pastel-y one. So like what's an example of a more pastel-y one?
Or Origin Coffee Bar was like really like all neutrals.
My brother was there yesterday. I was talking to him on the phone. He ordered their he said he got the French toast. It had pistachio butter, and I was like, that sounds amazing.
Wow, way to treat yourself.
Yeah. Good job, Frank.
So funny.
That one. Yeah, I feel like they're both so colorful, but the color palettes are so different. So how do you go about picking your color palettes?
So how I create color palettes is really different based off of the client. And so there's a couple different things that are really important in my process of picking colors that will lead me to the final color palette. And it all depends on really like what the client is wanting, who they are, what their space is. So I'll always start that process by asking a bunch of questions. So really like, who is the client? Where does the client live? What is the space? Does it have a lot of light? Is it a retail space? Is it commercial? Like, is it someone's house? Is it their bathroom? So every space is totally gonna give you a different color palette. And I think bathrooms are really special because generally I feel like you can take a lot of risks in a bathroom. Like, I love a crazy bathroom. Like, especially in a restaurant where you walk in and you're like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
it is the greatest when you go to a restaurant and somebody comes back from the bathroom and they're like, you guys gotta check out the bathroom. It's just like, it's so fun.
A restaurant by their bathroom.
Yeah.
And a good hotel by its bathroom.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bathrooms are some of my favorite to paint because you can like truly take so many risks. And I mean, this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, like about people loving like beiges and in that era of like farmhouse where everything was like really white and like calming. And I do love, like my whole house is white, pretty much. Well, it's the whole white, it's like short truth. But I do love like a calm space, but in that time when everything was so calm, I was like using so many colors and creating these like crazy spaces. And to me, that felt more like unique to me. And anyway, so understanding your client, like what's the space, what's their vibe, like the bathroom that you were talking about earlier, the Nats on Bank, the owner, Natalie, is so wonderful and like has the craziest outfits every day, like checkered sunglasses and like green Gucci like jackets, and just every day I was like, I'm so inspired by your outfit, like you're so cool. And so that to me was important to have her personality come through that mural. And she loves pink, like her hair at the time of the mural was pink, and so that bathroom has a ton of pink in it. So just understanding who they are is step one. And then how I pick colors after I've like understood the space and like what it needs is, I love interior spaces. Like I always find color inspiration from those. So like Dwell magazine, Architectural Digest, Domino, even Pinterest, like you can always find photos of houses that are so beautiful and well curated and well designed. And when you think about it, it's like someone made all these choices for that room for like a very specific reason. So everything in that room is like going together well. And like when you see a nice space, like you like that space because the design has been like thought out and is well designed. And so it's kind of like a color palette has already been laid out for you before you, and you just like get to pick from it. So that's how I find a lot of inspiration. So I'll literally look at a photo of a living room that I like in Architectural Digest, whether that be digitally or on Instagram or in a magazine or anything, and I'll like just like stare at the colors. And it could be literally the shading of like a wooden vase, like finding that out, or like a coffee cup that has like a green rim. Maybe that green is like so punchy, or like dish towels, or like a rug, or maybe like the glass like orb lamp is like the perfect white cream, and I'll just be like, oh, it's so nice, and I'll take colors from that and like mentally like organize them, and then just digitally create them, or find the color sample swatches and like organize them. But it usually starts off with like, what colors in this season of my life am I excited about? Like right now, I do love neutrals right now, and they're so nice. I just feel like neutrals are really calming, which is like interesting because I love color, but like, and I used to be like, I love color, I'm never going to use neutrals, but right now I'm just like obsessed with pointing white. And so but usually, like when I first started Julu, it was like cobalt, like forest green, ochre yellow, and like a punchy red. And I still love those colors, but I used a lot of those in my murals like 4 years ago. Now I'm using like, what am I using? Like periwinkle, like kind of like an electric yellowy lime. And so it also just kind of goes back to like, what spaces am I attracted to, and what colors in those spaces do I just like? Like, the client's opinion is like really important, but then most of the time they want you to like take what they have and like put your own spin on it. So, and that's really helpful too, because you know the design needs to be equal parts. I mean, it always switches, but needs to have your voice in it as well. So and then you set contrast. So so I guess that's how I pick a lot of my colors, is finding them in spaces. And
that's actually really brilliant. Like,
it's really fun
finding, like, if you see it,
you never run out.
But like, you think about that, you see a picture, like say you're looking through a magazine or on Pinterest, and you see a picture of a space, and you're like, wow, this space, you're basically taking a color palette from something that already feels unified and complete and is appealing for some reason, and you're just taking the colors from that and you can translate that into something that's two-dimensional that can have that same sense of completeness. Well, thanks so much. And where can people find you?
Instagram's the best, so Julu is my Instagram.
Also, like, if you can figure out a way to make your name a verb like she has, that's like amazing. She Julus things.
For my name.
I Caroline Clark things. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as much.
It kind of does. It's not bad.
But okay, a blender. Somebody go check out her Julu blender.
Let me know if you want your blender Julu.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She'll Julu anything. Your dog.
Anyone's gonna do a baby.
A baby. Not
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your baby.